New Waterford. Some of the audience giving Jefferson James a rough time due to his sparkly attire, we'll call it. But as I said, a very regal look to it, but that's not currying any favor with the fans here in New Waterford. As the bell is rung and we're getting ready to get underway with this opening matchup. Jefferson James really has brought this on himself, this hostile reception. As I said, he used to be much more popular with the fans, well, when he conducted himself in a more reasonable manner, but that's not been the Jefferson James we have seen the last number of shows, but still a very capable in-ring competitor, no doubt about that. If you're Jonathan Cross, maybe you can use this crowd to get some momentum going and give yourself an advantage in this opening contest. Jefferson James, no stranger to encounters with these fans here in New Waterford, and maybe a little bit of mind games here against Jonathan Cross, because when he's against the ropes, he's protected. Cross can't begin his attack. As Cross trying to start this match with a standard lockup, but Jefferson James not showing any interest in physically competing here in the early going. And finally, we get this underway. Strong tie-up by both men as Cross backs James into a corner to working along the ropes here. Bit of a feeling out process here in the early going as Jonathan Cross, the headlock takeover, brings James to the mat. Fans approve of that here in New Waterford. Pretty effective way to wear down your opponent in the early going of a matchup. Kind of assert physical dominance here. As I said, Jonathan Cross finding his way between the ropes. And certainly a victory here would vault him up the contender standings and get his ECPW career off to a nice start. Wearing down Jefferson James in front of this big crowd here in New Waterford. Good exhibition of strength there by Cross. James was trying to use the ropes for momentum, but Cross was having none of it. He was able to maintain control of this headlock, working a strong hold to wear down his opponent. This time James successfully backs Cross into the ropes, and given the tactics of Jefferson James, there's a cheap shot as he was given the 5 count, and rather than just break in a sportsmanlike fashion, he decides to, after breaking, throw the punch, and Cross almost, I don't want to say amused, but seems to shake off that assault from Jefferson James. And again, James has not been in a hurry to engage. Perhaps wants to slow things down, maybe take the crowd out of this contest. Tie up in the center of the squared circle here. ECPW 20th anniversary show here in New Waterford. Whipped into the ropes and a shoulder tackle. And very well scouted by Cross. He seems to have a good read on his opponent. No doubt he was watching some tape. He knows what to expect from Jefferson James. Hip toss blocked. Another hip toss blocked. Boy, talk about good scouting from both wrestlers. No counter for a knee to the stomach, though, and a powerful suplex by Cross. First pinfall attempt of the match, and a 2 count. And boy, even just making your opponent kick out at 2, having to exert that extra energy. I think Jonathan Cross will be happy with how he's begun this match. Reversal and a duck. Whip into the ropes. And a counter clothesline. Good counter wrestling from both competitors here. And first pinfall attempt of the match for James. I'm not sure he got a 2 count on there, but regardless, it wasn't enough for the 3. James was questioning the official, but we know that that was not a 3 count. James continuing to banter with the crowd, and I really don't know why he thinks he benefits from that. He certainly has developed a bit of an attitude here the last few years in ECPW. Powerful forearm by Jefferson James. He backs Cross into the corner. Oh boy, you can feel the impact of that chop all the way here at ringside. You can hear it and see it. The Cross will have a big red mark on the chest coming home tonight. Using forearm, almost trying to cut off the breathing of Cross by getting an arm up in the mouth. And now a kick to the stomach as well. Working on that midsection, and certainly Jefferson James has swung the pendulum, so to speak, to his advantage. Now trying to use that turnbuckle against Cross. And Cross, with a reversal of fortunes, throws James into the buckle. And now he's going to introduce him to the opposite corner. Maybe he's going to go for all 4. That's 3. And look at that. He's giving every corner of the arena what they want to see. And that's Jefferson James's face hitting the leather of the turnbuckle. Crowd very much in approval of what they're seeing now. Jonathan Cross pinfall attempt. And it's another 2 count. But certainly Cross doing a good job of establishing dominance in this contest the last couple of minutes. But taken down to the mat by James. They'll whip him into the opposite corner with some significant impact. I'm going to go for a suplex here, it looks like. Is he going to be able to get Cross up? Yes, he will. Nice vertical suplex there by Jefferson James, and letting the fans know, hey, that was a piece of cake, but it's not enough for a 3 count. Certainly pushing the limits for Jonathan Cross, and Jefferson James questioning Scotty McPherson, but the crowd very much in agreement with the official here. James whips Cross across. Duck a clothesline, duck another clothesline. Again, well scouted, but he gets him into a sleeper hold. Jonathan Cross is in big trouble here. Scotty McPherson's going to have to check the arm here momentarily. He brings him down. Looks like he's going to adjust into a headlock. Trying to wear down his opponent. You can hear the fans clapping here in Waterford. Great crowd on hand, and they're going to try to push Jonathan Cross to see if he can get into this maneuver and try to get back into this matchup. Stomping the mat, trying to, as I said, curry the crowd favor. 3 elbows to break the hold, and not sure if Cross knew where he was, and Insaguri is blocked. Powerful elbow drop there by James. And goes down for a pin attempt. And I don't know if that was fatigue or arrogance, but a bit of a cocky cover there. Didn't hook the leg. And I mentioned Jonathan Cross, a relatively new competitor, but a competitor of that caliber, you've got to hook the leg. I don't know if that was him testing his opponent to see what he's got or not. But regardless, it was not enough to get the 3 count. Gained steam, but used his momentum against him. Now Cross throwing his opponent's head into the turnbuckle once more. A powerful uppercut with the elbow. Looked like he might try to go for a power slam there, but it was blocked. Jefferson James using his elbow to wear down the upper back there of Cross and prevent himself from being slammed to the mat. Big knee to the forehead of Cross. Pinfall attempt, hooks the leg this time. Did come a little bit closer to getting the 3 count, but Cross was able to get up. If you're Jefferson James, maybe you feel like you're getting closer. Certainly has carried the offense, so to speak, in the last few minutes of this matchup. Brings Cross to his feet, but it's blocked. Takeover slam. What a great counter by Jonathan Cross. Great exhibition of power. And now both men are starting to feel the battle wounds of this contest. Who will get to their feet next? You hear the crowd chanting Cross. You know who their favorite is. Scotty McPherson will administer the 10 count. We'll see if the competitors can get to their feet. Hopefully get a nice resolution to this matchup. Great opener here. The 20th anniversary show of East Coast Pro Wrestling. This big crowd here in Waterford. Double open hand, slaps to the face. That Jefferson James reeling, tries the counter. Speaking of counters, takeover by James. Kick to the stomach, and he's going to go into the corner. Says upper class. Out of a shake, rattle, and roll there. He's got a cover attempt. 1, 2. Oh, and just in the nick of time, Cross kicking out. And it was criticizing Jefferson James earlier for his covers, but boy, he went the full measure that time. He even used his leg, and given that, throwing a high impact maneuver, he's questioning what he's got to do to beat Jonathan Cross. I think if you're Jefferson James, you just have to go right back to the attack. You can't give your opponent any time to recover. Then he's thrown into the turnbuckle. Chest felt the full brunt of that. Taken down to the mat. Shades of Sister Abigail. As Jonathan Cross taking Jefferson James for a ride. Reverse DDT. Is that going to be enough for the victory? It is.
is your winner, Jefferson!
And what a victory for young Jonathan Cross, the first in ECPW, but I don't think it's going to be the last. We haven't seen the last of this young man. And to chalk a notch in his belt,